What's happening, everybody? It's your man Flex, back at it again with another dope episode of the Flex Files. Listen, the differences between the select man, the non-select man, and even the Alpha Showpiece. We're gonna get into it, right, y'all? Terms that are made by yours truly, Ron Wills, the OG Ron Wills, even Cousin T-Taw. I've called the select man the top tier man to a degree. You call it maybe, the handsome man, whatever it may be. Basically, because the select man is a guy that women choose him. Hence the term the select man. Hell, I may even just call it the choice man. You know what I'm saying? Have my own terminology with it, right? Because women choose him. A lot of times women choose him. He's the ideal man. There's a lot of different terms you could use, right? It's a lot of different terms that you can use for that man, but he gets chosen by women. Now, and before we get into it, make sure to click that subscribe button below so that way you know when I post new content videos for y'all, right? Like I said, I post on a daily. If I don't post, I'm taking a day off type shit, right? But most of the time it's going to be majority of the week. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the new subscribers, the old subscribers. Thank y'all so much for joining this channel. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for growing this community. Right. But like I said, the choice man, the select man, he is the guy that women choose, right? Whether they give him choosing signals to approach, they compliment him, right? You'll know if you are the select man. You'll know if you're the select man, the choice man, by the way women respond to you, from how receptive they are to you. The video I made, I think a couple days ago, when I said, pay attention to what women do, how they respond to you, not what they say. It's not about what they say. It's about what they do in response to you. That shows and that tells you how receptive they are towards you and with you, right? That's how women are. You have to go off of what they do. Meaning, if you are a select guy, typically what a woman is going to do is she's going to put herself in your vicinity, right? Because women are more passive than men a lot of times, right? They're not the ones that go out and hunt, or not. I don't want to use the word hunt, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Like, they're not the ones that's going to be the aggressors. Now, they will, especially if you're an Alpha Showpiece, or even if you're a select guy, they're going to be choosing you. They're going to be like, hey, you fine, you cute, you handsome. I think you real cute. I like your shirt. Oh, I love your tattoo. Oh, what does it say? Oh, I love your shoes. Like, I like your style. You really handsome. I love your fit. They gonna come out and make the conversation. That's their idea of shooting a shot. And that's when they really feeling you. Now, yeah, sometimes it's just that they just making conversation and they could have a whole boyfriend for real. But honestly, they got a boyfriend and they compliment you like that. Hey, you got to question that shit a little bit. How loyal is that relationship in that point? Because that's kind of. But at the same time, some dudes ain't tripping on that, right? But the point I'm making is that they're gonna go out of their way to a degree if you select. They're gonna put themselves in your vicinity if you select. They're probably gonna tell you, I bet you get all the women. I bet you get a lot of women. You probably a player. They're gonna kind of be passive aggressive with their approach, right? They're gonna be choosing you though, ultimately, right? If you non-select, the thing is this: if you're a non-select dude, you have to be the one to approach a lot. And not only do you approach a lot, but you get a lot of no's. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. You get a lot of no's. You get a lot of women say, nah, I'm cool, or make up a lie that they got a boyfriend, or you're going to get a lot of women that, not selecting you. They're not choosing you, right? It could be because of the way you look. I'm just going to keep it above. It could be because of the way you look. It could be because of the way you talk, the way you carry yourself. It could be your height, could be your body, the way you dress, the way your body, the way you dress. These are things that you can control these things, right? To improve on, to become more select, right? Maybe you too light skinned. Maybe they don't like the fact that you got dreads. Maybe they don't like that you're bald. Maybe they don't like that. It could be so many different reasons. Your voice. It can be so many different reasons, y'all. Right? But they're gonna reject you. They're going to, even though you can be a select dude and still get rejected, believe it or not. But it's about it's about the what's the word I'm looking for? It's the rule. It's not the exception, it's the rule. It's what happens majority of the time to you. You be the type that approaches women a lot. And typically they're gonna probably put you in a friend zone, or they're not really feeling you like that. And you're gonna be able to tell. You know what I mean? They're gonna be like, well, I gotta go. It was nice meeting you though. Yeah, you're not select to them. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be the one to approach. It's harder for you to get women than it is for the select man to get women. I'm just gonna be honest with you. The select man, he gonna get choosing signals. A lot of time he still gotta approach, but when he approaches, he at least gonna get 50-50 time. He gonna get the 50-50 ball. Like I say, at least half of the time he gonna succeed with the approach. He'll succeed. He'll be successful, which is a pretty good percentage. Let's just keep it a buck. Pretty good percentage. Pretty good percentage, right? So again, that's the difference between that, right? Now, Alpha Showpiece, right? As I've said, Cousin T-Tar has talked about it. I started listening to him back in like 2019. Back when I first got into the like male exotic dancing arena, right? And I don't look, I let my results do the talking of what I am, right? I've never been the type that, although I'm a very confident individual, I've never been the type that self-proclaims to be anything. I let people tell me, in a sense. I'm confident in myself and I know what I bring to the table, but I let people categorize me the way they want to categorize me because people gonna do it, right? But when it comes to Alpha Showpiece, typically, this is where I'm trying to simplify this as much as I can, right? Alpha showpieces are basically the equivalent of women that get catcalled, basically, right? Now, in a sense, I would say that, I would put myself in that category along with a lot of other cats. And different people are in the category for different reasons, right? And shit, you ain't got to have no big following on social media to be an alpha showpiece. Some alpha showpieces be walking around here and you don't never look, they ain't got no social media, they ain't got shit. But women be choosing them in real time and you see it. But let's use somebody for an example. King, what his name? King the Great, something like that. That's an alpha showpiece, right? Meaning that, you could probably put maybe Austin Dunham in that category. You could put other cats in there, right? Because these ain't necessarily celebrities, but they are what you would call, women choose them. You know what I'm saying? And fuck it, I'll put myself in that category because I've told y'all the story. Not just because I've done the, male exotic dancing arena and I still am in it. But somebody did ask me, do I put myself in that category? I seen a comment that they said, and I was going to respond to that shit. So yeah, I do. Off of, in most cases, because of the the experiences that I've logged and that I remember of what's happened to me. And not only that, but hell, there's a video of a woman coming up to me and rubbing my head and my body and just being mesmerized. I got it on the YouTube channel. So yeah, you know, that you deal with shit like that. If you're an alpha showpiece, that's what happens, right? So look back on it and be like, hey, damn, this woman was damn near harassing me. There was another, you know what's funny, y'all? Okay, because I really do got a lot of stories, y'all. Now this one y'all ain't never heard, right? But let me kind of finish also with King Nate, right? Is it King Tate or King Nate? I can't even really fucking remember, man. But he's a 6'8" dude, and that's his brand. He's a YouTuber. I think he on Twitch now, but he's a YouTuber. So he does YouTube videos a lot. And he does kind of car videos like I do sometimes. But he kind of went viral more so for, I would say, he went more viral. Like, he's mostly known for, like, him walking around and going and, like, women just approaching him because he's 6'8", right? He's a handsome dude. He's a good-looking dude, but he's 6'8", right? And, you know, sometimes when you have outliers like that, that alone is gonna pull. You know what I'm saying? So women come up to him and approach him. Sometimes they don't approach him. Sometimes he go up to them too. He'll go around their vicinity, right? And because it's not like women always throw themselves at him like that every time, but sometimes he goes up to them around in their vicinity, and then they make, you know, conversation with them, right? And you know, that's something that a lot, you know, like that's what happens to and they choose him, right? That's an alpha showpiece in a way. And he'll sometimes get catcalled, or he'll sometimes, you know, he experiences things that, you know, a lot of men don't experience. That's what an alpha showpiece is. An alpha showpiece is somebody that experiences things that most men don't experience. A select man, they kind of in that realm too, but even select men, they could become an alpha showpiece in a sense. They could. But alpha showpieces, they even have more privilege than a select man, in my opinion. That's why I correlated it with a woman getting catcalled, because an alpha showpiece can also get catcalled, can get harassed, right? So, and there's other guys as well, you know. I mean, some people would consider Duke Dennis that, maybe, you know, but it's, I mean, he get women, but you know, he's very famous now and women be choosing him, you know what I'm saying? You know, but in a sense, it's just mostly about the fact that women make it easier for guys like that. So that's why I always tell men, I'm like, work on things that you can control, right? But yeah, alpha showpiece is definitely, they have it different. They could even get harassed. There was one time where I'm sitting down at this bar, and it's funny because my homies was like, why you should just go after that shit, right? And I think I did. I'm pretty sure. But I was sitting in this bar, and this girl, she kept looking at me a lot, right? And then she walked by me, and shorty, I kid you not, shorty literally, she smacked my butt cheeks. She legit smacked my butt cheeks. I'm not lying to y'all. As crazy as that sound, I'm not lying to y'all. That's exactly what the fuck she did. And not only did she do that shit, and it won't no accident, I'm gonna tell you why. Because not only did she do that, I turned around to see who the fuck that was, because I really didn't know if it was her or not. And I peripherally saw her walking by me, so I didn't know for sure if it was her, but I figured it was. and she was with her homegirl. She turned around and looked at me and smirked like, yeah, I smacked your butt cheeks. Now, this is what happened after this shit, right? After like 15 minutes of contemplating this shit and being like, yo, did this girl really just, and I'm like, one of my homies seen it a little kind of sort of, and then I'm talking to the other one. I'm like, bro, like this girl. And then he was like, bro, like, why don't you go talk to her, bro? Like, like, she damn near harassed your ass. I said, yo, that's wild. I'm like, that's crazy. Cause I'm like, bro, and I'm like, this back when I was like dancing heavy. I was stripping heavy at the time, weekly, So I'm used to this type of, I'm like, okay, whatever. I ain't thinking nothing of it. But she was cute though. She was kind of cute. I'm like, yo, that's wild. And so obviously, maybe, I guess that, that was her shooting her shot. Cause eventually I went up to her and approached her and was like, hey, did you mean to do that shit? Obviously I knew she meant to do it. But I'm like, did you mean to do this shit? And, and on the real, yo, I won't even really trying to go. I won't even gonna go up to her. My homeboys, in a sense, they kind of pressured me into doing it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So they pressured me into doing it, but I won't necessarily trying to do it. But anyways, I ended up going up to her, obviously, right? And she said, yeah, I did. I think you're cute, whatever, like that. I'm like, cool. I can't even really remember all I said, but I got her number and we kind of texted a little bit. We were supposed to link up, but we never did. But the point I'm making is this, is that shit, that's like being catcalled. That's the same thing. Basically, alpha showpieces and even select dudes kind of to a degree experience thing. They know what it's like for a lot of women that, meaning that women get harassed. They kind of experience that shit to a degree. It is still not the same amount as how women get harassed. This is not, because us men, we approach women on a regular, and some dudes even harass women a little bit more than they should, right? Unfortunately, women deal with that, right? But so that's why they still don't deal with it the exact amount, but they have an idea, right? They even get objectified. Like they get objectified. So, and this is probably like the fifth story that I done told y'all, right? But yeah, shorty really, she smacked my ass cheeks. She grabbed my butt cheeks, like damn near grabbed them, but she smacked them both as she walked by me. And I'm sitting down at the bar. And then she looked back at me and smirked. Like, yeah, it was me. I did that. I'm like, damn. And like I said, she was cute. And in a sense, alpha showpieces are men. There's some men that deal with that, right? But as a man, it's kind of different. It's like you can really look at that as harassment, and even if it is harassment, it's like, well, you a man. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I see it. It's like, okay, because she was trying to shoot her shot, and I talked to her afterwards. That's what it was. But that happened. And there's been several other instances. Probably even I'm being light about that by saying several, right? But like the time I told y'all when I was 21, walking down the strip in Raleigh, North Carolina, and women was just like, bruh, this shit, it's a thing that happens quite often, but it puts you in perspective. So that's the perspective of an alpha showpiece, right? But the thing is this. Every category, because see, I think it's really about self-improvement and self-development as a whole, as a man. That's what it boils down to, right? And you understand, you see what women choose. You see what women go after, right? Like and you can't compare yourself to other people. I am not 6'8" like King Nate the Great, right? But there's other qualities that women are into, right, about me that stand out. And you have to play to your strengths and not compare yourself to other people, regardless of whether you're a non-select man, a select man, an alpha showpiece, whatever. you know. So I don't want y'all to get caught up in the names that I named, like King Nate, Austin Dunham, and, you know, other men that are out here, right? But I don't want y'all to like get caught up in that, because now you're talking about comparing yourself when it's not about comparing yourself as much as it is about making yourself the best version of you that you can possibly make yourself be. So never forget that. Never compare yourself to people. It's always about, and instead, it's always about being the best version of yourself, playing to your strengths and sharpening the skills that you have, and that make you valuable, right? Owning who you are, right? It's not about comparing yourself. Everybody on a different path. You know what I mean? You can use other people as motivation, but never comparison, because comparison is the thief of joy. That's when you get discouraged. That's when you stop trying, because you start feeling like, oh, I can't never be like him because genetically he's this, or genetically they're that. Well, look, motherfucker, you can control this over here, so control that instead. What about the things that you're really good at? Sharpen that up. Make that the best version of, make that better, and that's going to make you stand out amongst the rest. Period. Hey, this video was longer than normal, but hope it helps somebody. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like the video. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Thank y'all so much, and make sure to click that subscribe button below again, so that way you know when I post new content videos for y'all. All right, it's your man Flex. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.